Last night, I rushed to the theater to watch Dragon Ball Super Superhero in dub for the first time on the big screen. I took my entire family, including a bunch of kids, took my friends' kids, took my kids. I took the next generation of Dragon Ball to see this movie because after seeing it in straight Japanese no subtitles, then seeing it in subtitles, but both with mid quality, I knew that the dubbed version was going to be a completely different experience, and being in the movie theater itself was going to be something surreal, something that to me, I hadn't had the vibe for since Dragon Ball Super Broly. And as we ran in there, it was packed with people that were arduent Dragon Ball fans, but not even just older fans. There were a lot of families there with kids, all of them wearing Dragon Ball shirts. This was the experience. This is what we walked into, and honestly, the vibe was great. And when the movie finally started, when we saw the Crunchyroll credit come on, everyone cheered, everybody was excited. The energy for this movie is insane. And so today I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys not only my pros for the movie, but my cons, because after seeing it in all its glory, surround sound, big screen, 4K, whatever you call it, I can finally give you guys my final verdict on what this movie is and how I rank it, and if it is better than Broly. So let's start with the pros. This movie is hilarious, and the voice acting for the dub to me is better than most of the voice acting for Dragon Ball Super's dub, because I've seen both Super in sub and in dub, and I'm telling you right now, when I watch the dub version, it feels like a lot of the lines are extremely rushed for some reason, and it just doesn't have the same oomph that not only Dragon Ball Z had, but also the Japanese has. But this movie is a true return to form. Everybody brought their A game. All the OGs are here from Dragon Ball, and they're giving it their all. This movie is great dubbed, and the one character that really carries this movie so well, it's the same in the Japanese version. It obviously is Piccolo, because this is a Piccolo movie, but with the Piccolo voice actor Christopher Sabat being the voice actor or being the voice for Piccolo, it really gives you that extra nostalgia boost, because this is the character that I grew up on as a kid. This is the voice that I heard as a kid, and to have an entire movie of Piccolo with this voice actor is great, dude. And not only that, it is just such a fun and fun-loving performance by Christopher Sabat. So much of the dialogue, so much of what's written down, and the story that's told here is just great, guys. Whoever wrote the screenplay for this deserves an award. They deserve a raise, because everybody in my theater was laughing. This was funnier than even Thor Love and Thunder was. It's just better. It is better when it comes to its comedy. There are a lot of subtle things here that if you're a deep Dragon Ball fan, you're gonna find hilarious. There's a scene where Pan can feel the ki from Piccolo and know it's him before she sees him, but Gohan cannot do the same, and my audience started laughing and just clowning on Gohan, because this movie, at the heart of it, it's about a teacher trying to bring his student back into the fold, bring him back to training, bring him back to where he was. It's like Piccolo is bringing Gohan to where all of us want him to be, and that to me is great. And not only is Piccolo, his voice acting great, the new voices that came in here are great. Now, Magenta and Carmine, to me, they're just negligible. I didn't really see any difference with them. But when it came to the Gammas and Dr. Hito, to me, their voices were spectacular, especially the Gammas. Gamma 2 specifically. It was such a chill and lighthearted performance for a character that is essentially the villain of the movie, but not really, because there is a lot of emphasis on the fact that they are being misled, and so is Dr. Hito to an extent, even though Dr. Hito does claim that he knew what they were doing. It's such a great performance, and by the end of the movie, the Gammas really grew on me, especially Gamma 2. I'm hoping that maybe they bring Gamma 2 back, because remember, he is an android, and so maybe he can bring him back in a sense, or maybe, Gamma 1 becomes a little bit more like Gamma 2 because, you know, he's trying to be a little bit more lighthearted because he was a serious of the brother. Honestly, it was like seeing a movie between Leonardo from the Ninja Turtles and Michelangelo. That was like the dynamic that I saw there, and I loved it, honestly. And the CGI when it came to the fights was great. A lot of the battles, a lot of the fights were really cool, really fluid. Actually, some of the smaller sequences with characters just flying around or jumping out of long distances or just flying down the road, the camera twists and turns with them. It feels far more like one of those amusement park rides where you're flying alongside one of the characters, like say at Universal with Harry Potter or something. It feels that way. It feels like really immersive, like you're the one flying. And lastly, Piccolo and Gohan's new transformations, both sequences, they got shock and awe from the audience. You can tell a lot of people had not seen any spoilers in my theater. They were like, what? There were so many gasps at these things, and the ending sequence, the ending fight, a lot of people were enjoying it. A lot of people were vibing with it, and they absolutely loved it. So to me, the entire movie was just so much fun. This is the third time I really watched it, and I'll probably watch it a few more times after this, just as much times as probably I watch Broly. It's a really great movie. It's a lot of fun, and honestly, they need to keep going this direction by giving characters that are smaller or giving characters that don't get like a lot of showtime. Give them some nuance, give them some focus, and have more small moments in the movie with different characters. Like two of my favorite scenes were when Piccolo was talking to Bulma about the Dragon Balls, and then when Chi-Lai was talking with Beerus and the rest of the crew. These are very small character scenes, and I absolutely adored them. This slice of life stuff is absolutely fantastic for Dragon Ball. It fits it so well. Here are a few of my cons, guys, and there are some cons. And the first one is there is a lot of lore. There's a huge lore dump at the very beginning of this movie that could turn a lot of people off. It is extremely slow, way slower than the Dragon Ball Minus sequences in Broly. It just feels like it drags a little bit longer. I've watched it 3 times now, and it's dragged even more this time because I'm watching it with a bunch of other people that are possibly feeling the exact same way. It just feels like there's a lot, even though you need all that information because you need to know who Dr. Hito is, who the Red Ribbon Army is. You need to know about how they view Bulma and how they twist Dr. Hito's mind on Bulma and their organization, which to me, the plot point of them being evil and the aliens and stuff is 100% like believable. It feels believable. And the last real con that I have for this movie is the CGI. So I did say the fight sequences were amazing. They were great. I loved it, but the CGI doesn't always work. And the biggest time that it does not work and it feels very, very mediocre, in my opinion, is any time that we're off Earth and we're at Beerus' planet. The character models for Goku and Vegeta are atrocious, in my opinion. This is the worst Goku and Vegeta have ever looked, in my opinion. And they do not fit well in CGI. Like, even my wife was telling me that Vegeta had so many lines in his arms and his legs. Like, I don't know why he was outlined that way more than Goku. It was weird. And they just feel really stiff. It felt like we were watching a cutscene for Kakarot or something along those lines, but a lot more stiff than that. And Chi-Lai, Lemo, Whis, and Beerus, they all kind of look pretty good, but those two characters looked really, really bad, in my opinion. And just the fight sequence between them was very, very subpar. It wasn't even as good as the one we got where Goku and Vegeta were facing off against Whis in Battle of Gods. It wasn't even close to that. And Broly, at some level, he kind of seemed a little stiff and ugly. His character model seemed ugly, way uglier than Dragon Ball Super Broly. He just didn't look good, in my opinion. He did not look well, and he didn't look as bad as Goku and Vegeta, but he still wasn't up there where I wanted him to be. Now, the rest of the movie looks pretty decent, but there are a lot of shots where the characters are talking to each other where it just doesn't look as good as Broly at all. And to be honest with you, the animation itself is not bad, and the fight scenes are pretty good, and I like the camera work in a lot of them because I think the camera work works really well, and that's something that Broly didn't have. But the animation never gets even close to that Shintani Broly level. Honestly, it doesn't even get close to the very beginning cutscene when you see traditional animation telling the story of Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, where you see Goku facing off against the Ribbon Army. The animation never gets better than that. That animation's amazing, and then we get CGI for the rest of the movie. So to me, the experiment of having CGI, personally for me, I think that it was fun. It was a cool gimmick. It makes Superhero a very unique movie, but in the future movies, we need to have a return to form. We need to have regular traditional animation, bring Shintani back, bring the creator of the original cutscene in the beginning of the movie, bring him in, Takahashi, whatever, bring some brand new artists in to make new models of Goku and Vegeta. You need traditional animation for Dragon Ball. I feel like going full CGI takes away a huge part of what Dragon Ball is, and I feel like it's cool for this movie, but I would not want to see it as a trend for, say, new movies or the new Dragon Ball Super anime series that will eventually come out. But overall, I really have to give Dragon Ball Super Superhero a 8 out of 10. After really sitting on it, watching it 3 times, I think it's pretty good for what it is. It's a good story, it's a cool story, it's interesting, the villain is cool. Giselle Max is far more scary than I remember seeing him in the first 2 showings. I think he on the big screen, he definitely is a presence on the big screen because he's so freaking big. But yeah, it's such a good movie. 8 out of 10. I'd watch it again 100%. And I think it's a solid entry in Dragon Ball Super and Dragon Ball Super movies. And personally, to me, it's better than the entire Granola arc. 110%. This story is far better than the Granola arc. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below.
Subscribe for more content. Or perish.